Hey guys, my name's Colin. We're going to talk about some crypto things in this episode, kind of just whatever comes to mind. We're going to talk about some cryptocurrency. We're going to talk about some Bitcoin bull runs, all that good stuff, kind of just free ball. Thanks for joining me. It's been a little while since I've hit you guys up with a video. I just got back from a vacation to an island off of the island I live on, which is Puerto Rico. And I visited Culebra and Vieques, two islands, very small islands off the coast, and had a great time. We saw a bioluminescent bay, creatures in the water that glowed when you moved through the water at night. And we did snorkeling through some exotic beaches. I saw octopus, I saw lobster, I even saw a puffer fish and many, many colorful tropical fish. Snorkeling is kind of one of my new favorite things here. So it's been a little while since I've made a video. I'm just kind of relaxing, enjoying my time here. I don't make these videos for profit. If you've noticed, I actually don't have ads on my videos at all. That's because I intend to make zero from advertising revenue. I figure it's an annoyance when I watch videos. I don't like having to skip them and click to skip. So I don't put you guys through that either. Maybe someday if it makes it worth my while, then I'll reconsider. But for now, I'll save you guys the pain of having advertisements. I, of course, live here in Puerto Rico, where I moved about 6 months ago to take advantage of Act 22 for cryptocurrency capital gains tax savings. And I very much enjoy my new home here. I was watching a video by the Nomad Capitalist recently, and he talked about not doing what the herd is doing and how taxes can really be one of the most erosive factors in one's wealth creation. And I have to say, I completely agree. And that is one of the fundamental reasons I moved to Puerto Rico for Act 22 as a US citizen. Next year, it's going to be called Act 60. So if you're interested in taking advantage of 0% on your capital gains for cryptocurrency trades, sells to fiat, trades to other crypto, then I definitely encourage you to look that up. And I also encourage you to follow Nomad Capitalist. He's just a great guy. He really shares a lot of insight about places you can move in the world outside of your home country to improve your standard of living. You know, we're all born into some country by complete random chance, and some of us have it better than others, but that doesn't mean that you have to stay where you were born. Just because we have a birth certificate in the United States or China or Afghanistan doesn't mean that that has to be our home for the rest of our life. You may not have a choice where you are born, you definitely have a choice of where you live, and you can make that choice. I highly recommend taking a look into that. The compounded loss of wealth over the years with a tax loss of like 40%, 50%, 60% in some countries is really unthinkably unbearable. And some of us have it hidden away because we get a paycheck from our employer and it's automatically deducted. But you know, it's still deducted. And if you really face the amount you're losing, I think you might reevaluate where you're living. And that's what I have done. And I'm very, very happy with doing so. Another point that he covered in his video was think big. And I just really like that. That's my motto. Think big, go big. Don't do anything half-ass. Generally, one can't make life-changing money without going in deep and going big. And so that's my motto. Calculate the risks, look at the rewards, and then do something in your life that might change your life for the better. Don't be so risk averse and fearful that perhaps you miss one of the greatest opportunities of our lifetimes. And I see that being cryptocurrency by missing it and not going in big. I see that with some of my family and friends, and to each their own, and I respect their decision. It very much has to be your own decision. But I feel like sometimes miss the fact that by staying in dollars in a dollar-based system, you're not hedging against the devaluation of the dollar and the inflation of the dollar itself. You're in an entirely fiat-based system. I guess if you have some property, that's one way out of it. But I very much view cryptocurrency as the gold 2.0 because it's better in nearly every way. But even gold is a safe haven asset alternative to fiat-based systems. So if you don't own any kind of alternative, I feel like that itself is a riskier proposition than having a diversification of assets. And that's what I would say to my friends and family who are kind of stuck into only the dollar, or not even stuck into it, just maybe not even being aware that they should diversify out of it, because we're so ingrained from an early age that the dollar is everything. The economy is the dollar. A third of Americans don't even realize that the dollar is no longer backed by gold. And that's how far removed from reality the society has become. And so that's kind of why I do these videos, to raise awareness, to educate, and to help more people see the things that I feel I've found that are really, really beneficial to my life and my well-being and my happiness. And I want that for all of you as well, because we all deserve to be happy, and we all deserve to keep as much of our wealth as possible, because we generated that with our own two hands. All right, so on to some topics here. Crypto bull run, just real briefly, I am still bullish as ever. Right now, we're just seeing a lot of sideways movements. I don't generally cover sideways movements a whole lot. I don't generally make small short-term price forecasts because I view them as a little bit more of fortune telling or gambling, and a little less certain kind of outcome. Like you'll have news guys saying it's going to go up, and you'll have some other news guys at the same time saying it's going to go down, and half of them are right and half of them are wrong, because it's kind of like being a fortune teller. So I like to look at the much bigger picture. I like to think big, and I like to think long term. So I do strongly feel that we are in the beginning stages of a current bull run cycle, and it will play out over the next year plus. Somewhere in 2021, we're going to see the tip of a ginormous bull run. And if you haven't watched any of my previous videos, I do urge you to look at my $211,000 Bitcoin price prediction. It's just a model, but it's a model that I feel has potential to be in the realm of reality. We could see a price anywhere from 100,000 to 300,000 in the next 1 to 2 years. So I urge you to look at that video. Right now, for example, we are at about $8,000 for Bitcoin. I think $7,500 for Bitcoin. I don't even look that closely because to me, it's all noise. It's just noise in the bigger picture. And again, that's why I don't cover the short-term price swings. It's noise. These guys who, they're trying to get followers by making videos, trying to predict the day-to-day changes, whatever, you know, like either you're in this because you believe in cryptocurrency and what it's doing, and as a corollary are going to make some good money. Again, I feel like we're at the beginning stages of a gigantic run-up, and it will accelerate increasingly over the next year to a year and a half. So I'm in hold mode. I've locked down my holdings. I'm not doing a lot of trading. I haven't made a trade since my last 20% EOS holdings to Bitcoin holdings. I still hold quite a bit of EOS. My portfolio, just in case you're wondering, is about 40% Bitcoin, 30% EOS, 20% Ethereum, and 5 or 10% Bitcoin Cash off the top of my head, just to give you an idea of what I'm thinking with. And I look at EOS and Ethereum and Bitcoin Cash as the hedges against Bitcoin's failure to scale, because I really do see it as that. And if I'm wrong and Lightning Network is amazing and it blows the pants off of people, it's amazing for cash, it doesn't have any risk, funds aren't lost, then awesome. That's awesome. Then it can be adopted on Bitcoin Cash as well with larger block sizes and not have congestion for opening and closing channels. But either way, I'm all for what makes the world a better place. I'm all for enabling everyone on Earth to use cryptocurrency. So I don't see high fees and small congested blocks as the way of doing that. But again, whatever gets that job done, I'm cool with. So I love BTC's original vision. I'm not a big fan of its recent store of value swap of narrative, but I do feel like there's a chance that EOS or Bitcoin Cash or even Ethereum 2.0 could end up scaling Bitcoin for it, despite its failure to scale. And so that's where I'm at, not a whole lot of trading. I'm going to end this video off with some thoughts on the current state of EOS. I realize that not all my viewers are interested in this, so I'll save it at the end. And if you don't want to hear about this, you can click off the video right now. My feelings about the state of EOS right now are very mixed. So I'm going to give you the pros and the cons. First of all, EOS is still the most advanced smart contract blockchain platform in existence. It's also extremely fast, extremely scalable, and I believe its architecture and design is very intelligently put together. So I still feel that way, and thus why I still have about 30% of my entire crypto portfolio in EOS. With that being said, if you take a step back and look at my channel, I actually started my channel with a video called Airdrops and What Do They Mean? And that was because I learned of that through EOS. And that was really when I started my channel, was at the beginning of EOS's ICO. I've been around since the beginning. I am also the #1 proxy holder of EOS. So when I say the things I'm going to say, keep in mind, I'm not a FUD spreader. I'm not anti-EOS. I am not against it in any way. I hold the tokens, and quite a few of them, and I also have the largest proxy on EOS, as well as another proxy. I think it's like 10th place or something like that. I don't know, 15th place, and it's a rewards proxy, and it's also a very large proxy. Together, I have a combined total of about 14 million EOS tokens that I vote with on behalf of those who delegated their votes to me. So trust me, I am very invested time-wise and holding-wise in EOS. So I love the vision that it has. That's the good things. Let's get into some dirt. So right now, just to give you an example, EOS Nation just made it into the top 21 rank, and props to them for doing that. They are an awesome BP. They have done tremendous things in the past. They've helped individuals recover enormous amounts of lost EOS when they messed up their registration during the ICO. And these guys like Daniel Keys from EOS Nation spent week after week for a year making it possible to recover lost EOS. And EOS Nation has been a key player in making that happen, as well as other upgrades. So these guys are awesome block producers. They have changed in my opinion, changed their approach, their ideals, their standards. Yves would probably disagree with me on this. He would say that they are voting for those BPs that they believe add value with their proxy. I would disagree. I think that there's been a compromise in integrity. There's been a compromise in what's really important. But I get it, and I'm not faulting them for it, because I really am coming to understand how this is working. Right now, it's not even, you see, you can't blame EOS Nation because they're trying to survive. And the way that EOS governance works right now is it's kind of a dog-eat-dog world. I hate to say it, but, and actually EOS Dublin's Sharif posted a message, and I'll put it here on the screen so you can see. And to paraphrase, he basically said that it's not currently possible for a block producer to enter the top 21 without voting for at least some other low-value BPs with vote trading. You need the Huobi's in there. You need the Bitfinixes in there, because without them and without their massive support, you can't make it into the top 21. You actually have to kind of trade votes and ask permission to get into the top 21. And so that is what EOS Nation has done. And at the same time, they voted for a slew of very good block producers as well, like EOS Authority, I think EOS New York, and many others as well. So it's not all bad, but it's not all good. And I get the logic. It's strategy. They're doing what they have to do in this very dog-eat-dog governance model that we have on EOS right now. And that, I think, is the unfortunate thing. I think it's unfortunate that it is almost like a permission-based system where you have to ask the top 21 to get into the top 21. And if you're not willing to play by their rules, if you're not willing to trade votes, if you're not willing to vote back for them, then your chances of getting in the top 21 are essentially eliminated. It's not possible unless you play by their rules. So in that regard, it's a bit of a cartel. We've known this. It's just gotten worse over time, and that's unfortunate. And so it's really made me rethink things. You know, we've gone from being, us Westerners, have gone from being against vote rewarding to embracing it and attempting to incorporate that into our actions as proxies and block producers. Unfortunately, it hasn't been enough, and we haven't been able to increase enough BP's ranks. I think that it would work if we had 50 to 100 million votes in these good proxies control, but we don't have 50 to 100 million votes yet in these good proxies control. So the mindset shift that I'm having like today is this question, and I'll pose it to you guys, and I'm curious what you guys think. Please put your answer in the comments below. Do you think that the greater evil to not have any good value-adding BPs in the top 21, to have them all outside the top 21 because they're adhering so strictly to morals and idealistic notions that they're unwilling to participate in this vote trading structure that is the current state? Or to have some good value-adding BPs in the top 21 and participate with this collusion, with this cartel, and at least have some, maybe up to half, being really good, solid BPs. And I'm really struggling with the answer to that because, because as much as I want to have only value-adding BPs in the top 21, like we had at the onset of the chain, it was driven by this beautiful array of value-adding BPs. And that's when we had all the great innovation and all the enhancements, all the upgrades to EOS, and we haven't seen anything like it. It's a completely different playing field now. Now we have things like CPU congestion, and the top 21 doesn't even do anything about it. All they had to do was like change the threshold, the max 80% threshold on the REX to 90% or more, and to stop this artificial market rate limit that congested EOS, but they didn't do it. And that's the state that bad BPs are getting us into. They don't care about the long term. In fact, they don't even seem to care about the short term enough to even fix the CPU congestion, as long as they're getting their pay cut with their sock puppet BPs. So that's the state of EOS right now. And whether we like that or we don't like that, it doesn't matter. And that's what I'm coming to see right now. That is the state of EOS right now. So is it really better to remain in a moral high ground and not compete? No, it's not, because the BPs that do that are all well outside the top 21. In many cases, they're outside the paid zone entirely, ranked 70 on down. And that does no good for anyone. So it's a really conflicted situation where we have block producers, really awesome block producers, barely getting paid anything or not being paid anything at all. And in that regard, their moral high ground compass has made it so they can't affect governance at all. They can't have a say. So that's not actually better. It's really ironic to say this. But when we're looking at the reality of the situation, the blockchain governance currently is coded in a certain way, and it functions a certain way. So just like I said with vote rewards, I think that BPs need to play by the rules. We need to get as many good BPs in the top 21 as possible. And then, of course, we hope for some help from block.one to push forward a change. But it's really not up to block.one. It's a community-driven effort. Their weight does carry a lot, and so I am looking forward to their say in this. But it's up to us. And I think that just to plug EOS New York's governance proposal solution, I think a lot of people have a misunderstanding about how it works. I think it's very needed because the EOS New York governance solution incentivizes BPs in such a way that even those entrenched cartel top 21 BPs who are vote trading and having sock puppets, even they will want this proposal. They will want this governance improvement because it incentivizes them as such. And it's the only thing I've seen that does so. You can't make it not worth their while, or of course they're not going to enact the change. So EOS New York's change, from what I can tell, does this. And that's why it's so ingenious. So if you don't understand how EOS New York's proposal works, I encourage you to look further. I love Dan's as well. I just don't feel confident that the current top 21 BPs are going to put Dan's in place. I think if Dan's 6 staking pool interest-based governance proposal was put in place at the onset of the chain, it would have been beautiful. But it's not that same state of affairs right now. With the current state of the system of EOS, I think that EOS New York's proposal is actually looking at all the factors, all the entities, and all the players in the system, and it has created something that they can all agree upon for their mutual benefit, because they'll all make more money than they had before. That includes token holders making more and BPs making more. So again, the question I want to ask you is it better for BPs to be outside the paid zone, but yet having this moral compass, but yet they can affect no change and they have no say whatsoever and they get paid nothing? Or is the lesser evil for them to play on the same terms with this dog-eat-dog broken governance model and have a chance at the top 21 or the top 30, and then we can maybe do something about it? I leave that question up to you guys. I look forward to reading your responses on that. But when I say all that, I think back to what I just said. If EOS New York's governance proposal model truly does incentivize even the most entrenched Huobi block producer with 6 sock puppet accounts, I'm not saying it's Huobi's sock puppet accounts, but if it can even incentivize that kind of block producer, then it may not matter who's in the top 21. We'll get the change enacted. Everyone will be better for it. So really, it's a question of how soon can this be coded, tested, implemented, voted on, and put into action. And that's what I want to see. So that's my thoughts on the current state of EOS. I'm definitely less enthusiastic about its governance model than when I started. I started out making EOS Mega Update videos, so enthusiastic about all the changes and the positivity, and gradually as I progressed, you can see my last couple of EOS Mega Updates have been governance based. And that's because that's the main issue right now, in my opinion. I don't think that block.one necessarily agrees. I think that that is an error in priority. That's just my take on it. I think that optimizing layer 0 is the foremost priority, and you can obviously work at other things simultaneously, but if your governance is a little weak, well, you're going to have things like CPU issues that don't get fixed because the block producers don't give a dang. So that's my take on it. I'm less enthusiastic than I used to be. I'm still holding all my tokens, but I'm not really pumped to make EOS Mega Update videos, and I probably won't until I see some significant governance proposals put in place and moving through the lines, because that's what I really feel like we need. And I'm going to end off by saying that all blockchains have governance issues. It's not just EOS. Bitcoin has like 60 or 70% of its hash rate from mining pools located in one geographic region as well. That's China. So Bitcoin, if anything, is even more centralized in China. It's a little potato. They're all kind of similar. Ethereum, similar thing. So it's not that EOS is any worse. Governance is a struggle for every blockchain. I'm not here to pick on it. I just love EOS and what it's doing so much, and I appreciate its vision and its feature-rich nature so much that I really am passionate about it the most, because I really feel like it can bring the most good to people's lives. And I see it as being the most superior smart contract blockchain. But I do want to see improvements in governance, and it may never be perfect, but I know we can definitely make improvements from here. So that's the good, that's the bad, that's how I see things. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. I'm Colin. This is Colin Talks Crypto.